People wanted me to box after New Orleans. I'm like, I'm not boxing after New Orleans, okay? Right now, I'll go 14 rounds if you need me to go 14 rounds. Lakers over the Thunder, 126-99. Let me repeat that here real quick. An absolutely dominating performance from the Los Angeles Lakers over the Oklahoma City Thunder, 126-99. That's when you start, this and then all that stuff. Not when you beat the Pelicans on Friday and people want me to jump for joy when they beat the Pelicans. What a performance on this Saturday afternoon, this Sunday afternoon. Lakers all over the Oklahoma City Thunder, hit 15 three-pointers in the first half, hit 22 three-pointers, ties a franchise record for the Lakers. And I think something that's not going to be talked about, we could sit here and we can highlight what they did offensively. You can highlight how good they were offensively. The Lakers' defense was locked down in this game. After the first quarter, look what the Lakers give up. They gave up 32 in the first quarter. They gave up 24 in the second quarter, 21 in the third quarter, 22 in the fourth quarter. Just absolutely locked down defense. And I'm going to continue to emphasize that the entire time. The entire time as we kind of sit here and, we go through the game and we get a chance to hear from JJ Redick, and we'll play all the interviews today. And I'll be hanging out here. We'll be chilling today. Today's it's a Sunday afternoon. It's the biggest win that the Lakers have had all season. It's a game where you can really look at somebody like Luka Doncic, which I know I've been critical about. Luka, no. You can't have a game like that against the Golden State Warriors. And then people want to come out after he has a pretty good game against the Pelicans, make it like it's a big deal. The reason why the Luka Doncic trade is considered to be one of the most lopsided trades in NBA history is because he's supposed to be a top 5 player. And because performances like the game he had against the Denver Nuggets when they went on the road, and then the performance that he had against the Oklahoma City Thunder this afternoon, that's why you talk about Luka Doncic the way you do. Somebody hit me with a message on Friday when I'm doing the postgame show saying, sounds like you're too critical on Luka. No, I just have very high expectations for Luka. Why wouldn't we? Go look at what he's done by the time he even reached the age of 25 years old, or by the time he was 25. You want to see greatness from Luka. That's why Luka Doncic that's why everybody's so excited that Luka's a Laker. That's why people are asking, how could the Dallas Mavericks and Nico Harrison trade away one of the great players of this generation at this age? How can that possibly happen? All right, we do know exactly what happened. It happened, and it makes no sense that it happened, and I got to hold him to a standard that is one of the great players in the NBA. Here's Trudell with Luka.
To really execute to that level.
I think the whole team was inspired because Real Madrid won El Clasico basketball today. No, okay, that was me.
Well, that's right, because I brought up before we went on air, I was talking about soccer yesterday, but you, of course, played basketball for Real Madrid. Fair enough. I know where your heart is there. But now with that knowledge, and we know how good Real Madrid is, what was it in the first quarter, Luka, that got you guys going?
Our defense. I think we started aggressive. JJ said before the game, we got to start aggressive, physical, and that's what we did.
All right, Luka, tell me about the pass to Gabe Vincent. You were standing right about here and flipped it over your head. At what point did you decide that's how you were going to get on the ball?
I don't know exactly. Sometimes I just decide things that sometimes are good, sometimes not. But I knew that he was standing behind me in the corner. That's a pretty good pass, I think.
Pretty good pass. All right.
But he made it, so that's a tough shot to make.
For sure. Well, look, a lot of your teammates hit threes tonight. Do you think, is there something collective about shooting sometimes when you see your teammates making shots, then that helps everybody else get going too?
Yeah, definitely, especially when we get shots like that, like this. I think we had a lot of open shots. We were driving the ball, sharing the ball, so I think that's the best offense we had.
Okay, last one for you. You play again in a couple days in this building. You, of course, played the Thunder last year in a tough playoff series. You know what it's like to play 2 games in a row. What's going to be the key, as you know they're going to come out pretty strong?
We got to come out with the same mentality, they're number 1 in the West for a reason. They're a very tough matchup, but we got to come out with the same mentality.
All right, thanks, Luka.
All right, that's Luka. I wanted to get on right away so I could see if I could catch that interview with Luka and Mike Trudell, and we were able to do so. So fantastic there. Obviously, that's all Spectrum Sportsnet. Okay, I want to go back here to Luka. And by the way, if you guys are here on this wonderful Sunday afternoon, thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Thank you for always tuning into the post-game show. It really means a lot that you guys do. If you guys don't mind subscribing to the channel, I would appreciate that. Let me go back to Luka here real quick. Here's Luka's stat line tonight or today. Luka, 11 of 20 from the field, 5 of 11 from the three-point line, had 30 points, had 6 assists, had 7 rebounds, and only had 2 turnovers. And frankly, I thought he took his foot off the gas in the second half because Lakers were just trying to play smart basketball. Lakers were just trying to find different ways. Whatever the Oklahoma City Thunder gave them, they tried to take advantage of. I don't think Luka was forcing shots. I don't think, I thought it was a perfect balance of put my foot on the gas and then take my foot off the gas a little bit. But I want to go back to Luka because watching him this afternoon, that looked like one of the top 5 players in the league. And that's what you thought you got when you traded for Luka. And even if it didn't happen right away, you're expecting it to happen. He's had some moments. Like I said, I don't care what he does against some of these teams that the Lakers are supposed to beat. Where Luka's Luka, and the reason what makes him so unique is you got a player that his stats are better in the playoffs than they are in the regular season. That's superstar status. When I'm already a great player in the regular season, but when the moment gets bigger, I get better. I get better than what my regular stats are. Today was interesting to me because the Oklahoma City Thunder have historical defensive stats this year. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, look, I've gone out of my way to talk about they deserve more respect. And some of the times that I've got a chance to watch them, if that's the class of the West, then the entire West is open. I mean, look, maybe they just had one bad night. Maybe they come back on Tuesday and it's a completely different team. But before Friday, they played the Houston Rockets, lost by 14. They played the Lakers at home. They lost by 27. If that's the class of the Western Conference, they've done everything you could possibly ask for. They're going to end up with the best record in the NBA. They clearly have a huge advantage over every other team in the Western Conference. But to see how the Lakers dismantled them, let me tell you one thing that I think is very, very important. Did it look like the Lakers feared the Oklahoma City Thunder at any point this game? Did it look like the Lakers looked at any of the players on the other side and was like, oh, that's going to be a problem? And by the way, let Shea go get his. What'd Shea end up with? Which, by the way, is nothing. 26 points, and it took him 23 shots to get there. Certainly wasn't a efficient night or an efficient day for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. This Lakers team, it felt like from me, they were looking on the other side of the court there and saying, that's the best team in the league. That's the best team in the Western Conference. All right, we'll bring everything we got. Let's see what they have. And the Lakers just dominate. I mean, honestly, the game wasn't even – if you were watching this game and you were looking for a good matchup, maybe you're an NBA fan and you're like, oh, my God, Lakers Thunder on a Sunday afternoon, I'm going to kick back and watch. Maybe you're a fan of another team. That was boring. That's how bad this game was. That's how lopsided this game was the entire time. Guys, I know it's one game. I'm not trying to tell everyone that because the Lakers just beat the Oklahoma City Thunder by 27 on their home court after they're coming back from a loss. I think 11-1 this year coming off of a loss. That's how good they've been responding back from an L, got their asses kicked in Houston. If that's the best in the league, the Lakers sure didn't act like they cared that was the best in the league. And frankly, from what we got a chance to watch today as well, Tuesday becomes remarkably interesting because Tuesday, one of two things are going to happen on Tuesday when you see Lakers and the Thunder. Either the Oklahoma City Thunder respond back and say, okay, we took one to the chin. We didn't play well. The Lakers set a franchise record of most three-pointers or tied a franchise record of most three-pointers hit. You guys had one of the best games you're going to have all season long. We'll punch back. Here's round 2. But that did not, to me, it didn't look like a team that was intimidated by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Almost looked like they were disrespected in the sense of that's the best team. We got Luka and we got Braun and we got Austin Reeves. That's how the Lakers played for one 48-minute game against the OKC Thunder. What it means big picture, I know this. Lakers were walking into this, final stretch of the regular season. They had to go 4-1. And it didn't matter what anybody else did to lock up the number 3 seed. Okay, now they got to go 3-1. This was a very, very important game in the standings. The Lakers obviously had to have this game. Not had to have it, but you were hoping they would get it. You were hoping for just a split. They got already just at least the split in this first game. Here's JJ Redick on the Lakers win.
You go first.
Interesting.
So, yeah. What's the thing that stood out the most?
I thought we were very connected in both intent and in spirit on both ends of the floor. Very committed to what we were trying to do defensively and very committed to where we felt like we could generate good shots offensively against a terrific defense. And there wasn't a let up to that. There wasn't any overreactions to certain possessions. And then, we played at a pretty slow pace there in the second half, but didn't allow them to get out and really have enough possessions to get back into the game, which also was important. And I think our guys did a good job of not just building the lead, but besides that run they made in the second quarter, they maintained that cushion throughout the game. And that's really hard to do against anyone, particularly against this team and particularly in this building.
Specifically on offense, all of the threes that you made, was there a common thread to, why you were getting such good and clean looks as to what you wanted to execute offensively?
They played a bunch of different coverages. They played some drop. They played some reds. They played some blitzes. I just thought our ability to recognize, other than one possession, that first possession when they blitzed towards the end of the second quarter, I thought our ability to recognize those coverages was really good. Luka, again, his just ability to make threes. We got I don't know the exact total, but Max will have it on the post-game report. We got some great uncontested corner threes. We missed some uncontested corner threes. I just thought the movement, the spacing, and the intent was great all night.
JJ, kind of two different questions. You mentioned a little bit kind of valuing possessions. It felt like there was one early in the game when they may have gotten 2 or 3 cracks and Caruso hit a 3, but otherwise, like, it seemed like you guys were the team that was creating extra advantages in that. How pleased were you with your team's response when it came to 50-50 balls, offensive crashing, and different things like that?
Yeah. They ended up with 9 offensive rebounds, and 4 of those came from Dylan Jones in the fourth quarter. So I think overall we did a really good job on the glass. I have to get the exact stats, but I know several of our turnovers were dead ball turnovers versus live ball turnovers. So we were able to set our defense. This is going to sound silly. We also had some really timely fouls. Where we weren't in the bonus and maybe they had an advantage, or maybe we had a man down or a man in the trail position. We were able to foul and stop the possession, and then they took it out on the side. So I just think all that stuff contributed to us just not allowing them to get in any sort of rhythm offensively.
And then you've been around Luka now as his coach for a couple months. What do you see from him when it comes to creativity and sort of performance when, like, the test gets bigger, the challenges get harder? It seemed like there was maybe even another level unlocked. The pass he had to Gabe in the corner, a couple of the spin moves and scoop shots, stuff we haven't necessarily seen.
Yeah. I think he relishes the challenge. You're going to get the best defender every night. You're going to get all the different coverages every night when you're him. And similar to LeBron, similar to Jokic, like similar to Shea. These guys have seen every test and they've figured out the way to pass each test. And a lot of times they not only pass the test, they ace the test. Sometimes great players can get bored with that process. And so when you get like the fully engaged star in a big time game, some special things can happen. And Luka did some special things tonight. We were running a smash and it was not the first option, but just the way they covered it. Very clear that Gabe was open and I was like, hit the smash. And he dribbled into the paint and then threw it behind his head. And St. Gino was like, oh, he sees it. You don't need to tell him.
All right, we'll stop it right there. All right, phenomenal stuff. JJ Redick obviously talking about the Lakers' big-time win. Biggest win of the year? Biggest win? Is that one just easy? Biggest win for the Lakers this year? Because I'll think of a couple that come to my mind. And I'll actually just talk more since after the trade because – whatever happened pre-trade, I mean, to be honest with you, that was a lot earlier in the season. Each one of these games now have more meaning to them just because of where you are in the year. That win at Denver was big time. That win at Denver was big time, especially because Denver have always dominated the Lakers. It's the first time Luka had faced the Denver Nuggets in a Laker jersey. I don't know. I mean, you smash the number one team in the NBA. You win by 27. You're up basically between 18 and 25 the entire contest. You need these wins for seeding and home court advantage and standings, and there's still a lot of big games left this afternoon. Luka goes off the way he did. How about LeBron in that kind of fourth quarter where he just started, all right, let me go now, and hitting some tough, beautiful fadeaways. A couple guys on OKC, I saw them standing up thinking they were locking down LeBron, and LeBron would hit a fadeaway. A couple of the guys, let me go ahead and take a seat right here. He had some moments. Austin Reeves had some moments in this game as well. What did Reeves end up with? 7 of 15. Again, if there's something I enjoy watching with Reeves, just incredibly efficient. 4 of 8 from the three-point line, just under 50% from the field. He had 20. I'll take Rui's 11 and 7. I'll take that any day of the week. I mentioned what LeBron did. Looking on the bench, this is another. I'm not trying to say that this is the only way the Lakers win, but you get 14 from Dorian with 4 threes. You get 12 from Gabe Vincent with another 4 threes. You're not losing many games. You're just not. And something that will get lost in how great the Lakers were offensively in their three-point shooting. Lakers were phenomenal on defense, just phenomenal on defense. The Thunder shot 32% from 3, 43% from the field, only took 12 free throws, just phenomenal defense from the Lakers side of things. All right, let me start looking at everybody's comments here. I appreciate you guys hanging out. We got a lot of comments to get to. I got a couple that are trying to underestimate the win for the Lakers. I want to start off with those. I'm okay with that, by the way. Completely okay if you want to disagree and think that this win wasn't that big of a deal. We'll talk about it. This game tricks everyone. This is a first-round exit team. Eric, I appreciate you being a part of the show. I appreciate you coming on here and throwing a comment. I truly have no idea what you're talking about. No idea what you're talking about. So the Lakers going out and beating the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let me just say this. Let me go through the last. How many games are these? I want to just make sure I'm counting these right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Last 5 games for the Lakers. They've played 4 playoff teams. 1 at Memphis, beat Houston. Lost to Golden State, beat OKC. Actually, I'm sorry. They've won 4 out of their last 5 games. So Memphis is a playoff team they beat on the road. OKC is a playoff team they beat on the road. Houston's a playoff team they beat at home. Golden State's a playoff team. They lost that game. And then they beat New Orleans. Nobody really cares about that one. What about this game tells you this is a smoke screen and they don't got a shot? Is that because you don't want them to win, which is fine. You could say, I hate the Lakers and I don't want them to win. But wouldn't you at least say, okay, well, I can't really look at just this game. What are the Lakers in the Western Conference? Okay, what are the Lakers at home? Let's use as an example. What are the Lakers versus teams above 500? I mean, to just kind of to poo-poo this as in they did nothing, they didn't accomplish anything today, I really know what to take of that. Okay, I got another one of these that I think has a little bit of a similar vibe. Mikhail, Lakers needed to win more. OKC took their foot off the gas and did not give their best. Mikhail, I'm going to tell you again here. Sounds good. I don't care if OKC needed it and didn't need it and the Lakers did. I will tell you this. Let's just say hypothetically the Oklahoma City Thunder didn't need it. Shea played 30 minutes. By the way, this was such a lopsided game. I do think they played these guys a lot less than they usually do. It was Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, Isaiah Hartenstein, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Dort, Lued Dort. All these guys played between 25 and 30 minutes, and that was your starting lineup. I just don't think they played well. Alex Caruso played, his fair share of minutes. Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, Cason Wallace. I got a difficult time thinking that this was. And again, I really don't care if Oklahoma City was trying to win this game or they're not, or it's not important to them. I know it's important to the Lakers. and I know they got the W. So that's all that really matters to me. Joser here. Joser, thank you for the super. I can't believe we won by that much. If Luka keeps us up, I think we have a good shot against them in the playoffs. Well, that was part of my reason. Somebody had put in the comments on Friday. By the way, I'm not trying to call out Eric and Mikhail. I just disagree. That's all that is. You guys can have your thoughts and opinion anytime, and I don't want to discourage anybody from making comments on the chat just because you disagree with me. I just disagree. Joser, there was a comment on, was it after Friday's game? I can't remember which game it was, but there was a comment that came in that said, if LeBron's the best player on this team still, we're not going to get very far. And I agree with you. Tonight, Luka was the best player on the floor for the Lakers. He looked like it. Tonight, Luka was the best player, period. Between Shai Gilgeous, LeBron, Austin Reeves, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, Luka was the best player tonight. Really, actually, to be honest with you, probably wasn't even close. That's how much better he was than everybody else. So with that in mind, I don't know what the ceiling of this team is. I don't. If they get Golden State in the first round and it's a tough first round matchup and the Warriors ended up beating the Lakers, it wouldn't be a shock. Golden State's good as well. But seeing how the Lakers have played against some of these other playoff teams, I think Houston would be an incredible headache if the Lakers face them at any point. Denver, an interesting matchup. Maybe some of those other teams I'm not as concerned with, but you never know what can happen. I think what this game told me, if the class of the Western Conference was that team from the Oklahoma City Thunder, then there's probably a lot of teams walking out. Houston right now is saying to themselves, we could beat the Thunder. The Lakers, I'm sure, are probably sitting there saying, we could beat the Thunder. The Golden State Warriors are probably sitting back and saying, we could beat the Thunder. I expected a lot more from the Oklahoma City Thunder, and maybe that was just a combination of them having a bad game, Lakers having a great game. We'll find out a little bit more on Tuesday. Tuesday, we'll get a little bit better of an idea. All right, let me read a couple here. Instagram. Held my breath for the third and fourth, but damn, they held on. They didn't even hold on. They increased the lead. I was listening to NBA TV had the game on, and it was the Thunder broadcast. And it was interesting listening to that broadcast because that broadcast basically just kept saying, hey, you know what? It's okay. That's why you've built yourself such a cushion in the Western Conference. Not a big deal at all. I don't know if I walk away with, sometimes you just lose a game. That's one thing. To get dominated from tip-off to the buzzer, and especially a young team like that could have some effect on their psyche. And they responded to the Thunder runs. Yeah, there really wasn't a Thunder run, to be honest with you. Every time it felt like, hey, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're going to start doing something. Lakers would shut that down immediately. Immediately would shut that down. Joser, thank you for the super. 1 for every 3. B, you're awesome. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. B, throwing in $22 here on the super chat for the 22 threes that the Lakers had. Thank you, B. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. Very, very nice of you doing that. All right, let me keep this one up. Let me keep this one up here for a quick second. And I want to keep going. I want to keep looking at a couple other comments, but I want to just take a quick look what this does for the standings real quick in the Western Conference. So NBA standings right now, Lakers obviously holding on to that number 3 spot. There's some interesting games going on tonight, but I'm going to come back to that in a second. If the Lakers go 3-1 in their final 4 games of the season, they will hold on to the number 3 seed at worst. Now, unless, Houston goes on a complete, meltdown or something like that, maybe they can still get up to number 2, but I don't think Houston's moving from number 2. If the Lakers go 3-1 in their final 4 games, they will have the number 3 spot. And, obviously things will get figured out from there. Scores for tonight. So here's what we got going on tonight. Games that have an impact on the Lakers. All right, let's look at them. Rockets and the Warriors, NBA TV later tonight. If you try to get a little bit greedy, you'd root for the Warriors in this one. I think either way, Lakers will be fine with whatever result. But if Warriors win this one and Rockets are up to 28 losses And then you get the Rockets again after, you still got Thunder and the Mavs before you play them. What are the Rockets' last few games? I just want to look at their final schedule here. How difficult, how easy, what do the Rockets have? All good teams. Rockets are at Golden State, at Clippers, at Lakers, home against Denver. I mean, it would take a little bit of a collapse. You need some help from the Houston Rockets, but I guess tonight, whatever happens, happens. But that number 2 spot's not out of the mix. I mean, you'd have to, obviously handle your business, and you'd need Houston to lose some games as well. But Houston's got tough games. Listen, on the road against the Lakers, on the road against the Clippers, who are playing really good basketball, and then on the road, like I mentioned, against the Golden State Warriors as well. So they got some tough games too. All right, let me take a look here at another comment. B, thank you again for the super, brother. I really, really appreciate that. Chris, what a great 50th birthday present to my mom, Jennifer. All right, Chris, happy birthday to your mother. Sunday, April 6th. Happy birthday to her. And then a solid game for the Lakers to help celebrate. So, Chris, thank you for the super and happy birthday to your mom there. All right, let's get to LeBron. LeBron's talking right now. Love to hear what LeBron's got to say about this W. Here's LBJ.
Take us through kind of your approach to that and you're keeping your teammates along the way.
Yeah, I mean, between them and Cleveland are the best teams in the NBA. So, they're the number 1 team in the West, and you can't have a let up no matter what the score is. They're always going to make a push. That's why they are where they are at this position in this part of the season. So, it was a really good game for us, and we can build off of it.
What do you think was the biggest reason you were generating such good looks from 3 and then, guys started to knock them down?
We just played with some pace. We got to where we wanted to get to offensively, and AR did what AR did, what he does every single night. You had 2 layups in a row. Oh, that's bogus. He blocked that one? Okay. I'll give you one. Second one was nasty. AR does what AR do, man, and then obviously Luka was spectacular as well. But all around performance by everybody that came in the game tonight, it was a good win for us.
The Boston game, you guys went through a bit of a lull, but now in the last week or so, you have the road win in Memphis, you beat Houston, you beat OKC here. Like, what type of momentum do you think you've been able to recapture?
Obviously we know it's the final stretch into the postseason, so we're just trying to rack up great habits. Obviously. Sometimes the game goes the way the game goes, and sometimes you can play a great game and still lose games. Sometimes you can feel like you didn't play as well and win a game. But it's about habits. And I think we're just trying to, build our habits right now going into the final stretch of the season.
Along those lines, it seems like it's valuable, particularly against a team like them, that to see those habits and apply them. How big of an opportunity did you view having them on the schedule at Oklahoma City now? To kind of put what you guys have been working into in action.
We just want to. No matter who we're playing, obviously we've been pretty good. Some of the better teams this year, and we haven't been as good as some of the teams that's below 500. But this is a great team to test out and see where you are. But ultimately, it's about our habits. We have to continue to push our habits. They know who they are. They know what they're going to be in the postseason, and we're still trying to figure it out. With our lineups, with us all getting acclimated to what Luka wants to do, AR, myself, and make sure we keen on everybody else on the team and make sure we held each other accountable. So, we understand that coming down the stretch we have to play some really good basketball, but we still working on habits.
It's a single game, and obviously it'd be easy to say just do that every game, and that can be who you guys are. Yeah. But how much of the non-shooting stuff tonight were you happy with? The controllables?
Yeah. We know that they're very good when it comes to getting into the paint, attracting a lot. They do a great job of getting to the free throw line. They do a great job of getting offensive rebounds and second chance points. And those are some of the controllables that you can control. Not putting your hand in the cookie jar, when a lot of those guys are driving, Shea, J-Dub, some of those other guys. You got to just, live with the contest, make or miss. And I think we did a great job of paying attention to detail in that. And then when they missed, they did get a couple offensive rebounds in the first half, but I thought in the second half we shored that up. So we were very keen on what we needed to do.
All right, we'll stop right there. Lakers got to be feeling good right now. They got to be feeling great right now. And, you could tell there's a vibe, and just kind of listening to LeBron a little bit right there, they got to be feeling great about themselves. It really, really is, one of those kind of signature wins late in the season that could kind of catapult you a little bit, right? It can certainly put your squad in a position just mentally to say to yourself, all right, by the way, you know who else is feeling this way? The Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are walking into every game right now saying to themselves, we beat anybody. There's nobody that we can't beat. There's certain squads right now that are feeling a certain way. What's interesting to me is the two teams with the best records in the league. The Cavs kind of stumbling a little bit into the playoffs. OKC, phenomenal record, awesome record. You just lost 2 straight games against the number 2 seed and the number 3 seed in the Western Conference. One by 14, one by 27. Interesting, right? And I'm going to go back to this. One game really, truly doesn't mean anything, but this is a big-time win for the Lakers, and they got to be feeling a certain way as they kick back. Here's the great thing, too, with the schedule right now. They had this game in the afternoon. They don't play again until Tuesday afternoon. Or Tuesday evening? What time is tip-off? 5:30 or something like that? 5 o'clock at OKC. They had to kick back for 48 hours before they get another game. Now, they will have a second of a back-to-back because they got Dallas, but that's it. There's no more back-to-backs left. And then, after that, you close out the season with 2 more games after that Dallas game. Okay, if you send a super, don't hyperventilate. I got you. I'm coming in here. Coming in. I'll be reading all of them. If you didn't send a super, all good. I'll make sure to get to as many comments as I can, so don't worry about that either. We're going to get to as many of them as possible. I want to give a quick shout-out here to our main partner, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Proven trial lawyers. Thank you very much for their partnership, being a part of the show. I hope you guys never need him. I hope you guys never need an injury attorney, but life happens, things happen. And if it does happen to you, you got one of the best in the biz that can help represent you. This is somebody that I know personally for over 5 years, somebody that used to advertise with me when I was at 710 ESPN, and now somebody that followed me on YouTube because he believes in what I'm doing and certainly wants to associate his brand with my brand, and I can't tell you how much that means to me. If you or someone you know is in a serious injury, you should reach out to Brad Wallace. Let him walk you or your family through your legal options. It's a very intimidating, daunting process. You got to let an expert in the field help you, and he's certainly an expert in the field, him and his entire team. He can help anyone, by the way, in the state of California. If you need a personal introduction, I can make a personal introduction. If you just want to go through the website, the URL that we created, wallacewins.com/Sliwa, wallacewins.com/Sliwa, you can get a free consultation right there. Something to keep in mind, obviously you've probably heard his name now for the last couple of months. He's going to be with us for a while. He's got a long-term commitment on the channel. I'm very appreciative of that. And I also just want to make sure if anyone runs into a situation where they do need an injury attorney, let me at least introduce you to Brad Wallace. You can get a chance to meet the owner of the firm, and you can see if he can help you. So shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. All right, let's keep going here. Some of the comments that we have, I want to keep hitting on. All right, let's get to. All right, let's go here. Okay. Who we going to? So many comments here. That was a statement win. Alicia Green, thank you for the super. Good win, Lake Show. I'm with you on that. Statement win. Where's our guy, Timothy? Did Timothy make it in the chat today? Remember our guy, Timothy? What happened to Timothy? All caps. Everything was just highlighted very big and bold. And then, he kept saying OKC is going to demolish the Lakers. OKC in 5. Where is he? I mean, if you're going to come on here when the Lakers lose a game, or if you're going to come on here when you feel like the Lakers can't do anything, you can't at least make a presence when the Lakers play the Oklahoma City Thunder. And if you were going to come on here when the Thunder win, then you better get your ass on here when the Thunder lose. That's how this works. I don't pick and choose when I do my post-game shows. I do my post-game shows whether the Lakers win or they lose. Unbelievable. I don't understand it. All right, we'll keep looking at the comments. I'm just hurt. You know what I mean? It's like I was hanging out with somebody at the bar after a game, And granted, him and I didn't agree with anything. We grew some rapport. We really didn't. All he would do is just curse and then leave. PNG, thank you for the super. People act like OKC invincible. You know, I think I've kind of tried to go out of my way to give them their proper respect. Guys, they're doing things in the league literally nobody's seen before. And I got everybody that's telling me, all right, but go look at what they're doing in the regular season, how they're taking out teams, the amount of blowouts that they have, how great they are defensively. Shai Gilgeous probably going to be, the MVP, or at least expected to be the MVP. What I think is there's a difference between invincible and there's a difference between what happened tonight or this afternoon. It's tough to get that out of my mind. The difference is this afternoon, the Lakers mopped the Thunder. And I wasn't expecting this by any stretch of the imagination. I'll tell you guys what I was expecting. I was expecting OKC, after a bad loss to the Houston Rockets, coming out very upset, ticked off, anything they can to get a win against the Lakers, to prove that loss against the Rockets wasn't real. Here's awesome.
Go from third to, I think, eighth and snap of a finger. So for us to come in here and play such a good team the way we did tonight is big. And, hopefully we can continue that momentum to Tuesday.
Beyond the window, is there any psychological beyond what Mike mentioned in terms of what the win does for the standings and stuff like that? Is there a psychological thing to, that's a team you very likely could play. You're going to play Tuesday, but in the playoffs too, to see like that your best habits can produce that type of result. Is there benefit in that?
Yeah, anytime you play like that, regardless of, who you're playing, anytime, you can go watch that tape and you can see so much stuff that we can build on, so much stuff that we did right. There wasn't too many chaotic possessions for us on offense and defensively. We didn't have too many, breakdowns. I feel like we kept those to a minimal tonight. I think we kept them off the free throw line really well. And, we paid attention to the details tonight. Just played a really good game.
You mentioned the lack of breakdowns defensively. What else did you like the most about the defensive performance? It felt like one of the better ones you guys have had.
So you see this man right here? He's a great defender. And we got a lot of guys like that. Fando comes in, Goody comes in. Everybody, like I said, was locked into one goal. And that's, doing what we were supposed to do, following the game plan. Coaches put together a good game plan, and we went and executed it.
All right, stop right there. Keep things rolling here. Appreciate you guys hanging out, being a part of the show. Phenomenal defense by the Lakers. What's going to get lost in this game is that the Lakers were all over the place on defense, switching everything. Everybody kind of having each other's back, high intensity. And I'm sure hitting some buckets and hitting some threes certainly helps from that perspective. But I was listening to the Thunder broadcast, and the Thunder broadcast kept saying, PNG, thank you for the super. The Thunder broadcast kept saying that the intensity of the Lakers, Thunder broadcast kept saying, oh, you know what? Lakers are just hitting a lot of shots. That's what's happening. I don't know if they were giving enough credit to the Lakers, but I don't think anybody was expecting that. Gerono says, I love how OKC announcers kept saying OKC were having an off night. Lakers locked their ass up. They did. Defensively, the Lakers were incredible. Even shots Shai was hitting, I'm like, yeah, that's a tough shot. Jalen Green never got into a flow. Every three that they took was contested. Lakers would hit a bucket, and one of the things I think was the main thing from the Lakers, they were stopping any fast breaks. They were stopping the Oklahoma City Thunder crowd getting into the game. They stopped those 8, 9, 10-0 runs or 12-2 runs that can get that place exploded. Lakers were always set on the defensive side, and I felt like there was no real flow for the Thunder. So, Jerno, I'll tell you this about the Thunder broadcasters. They probably were as shocked as anybody else. Shocked that OKC had lost 2 in a row like that. Thomas Crown and Anderson Sleva. Oh, no question about it. Yeah, a lot of people see me as like a boxer. But I don't think people know that I'm also MMA. I'm mixed martial arts. And I don't think people understand that. UFC, the whole thing. I'm everything. Appreciate the super there, brother. Avoid OKC. Why? They never scared me. Yeah, I'll tell you this. Coming into this weekend, I had a different perception of the Oklahoma City Thunder. after seeing them lose the way they did against Houston, which Houston actually matches up really, really well against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then seeing what I saw today, I don't know. I guess now all of a sudden, I think there's probably a lot of teams in the Western Conference saying, hey, did you guys just see what happened in these last 2 games against the Oklahoma City Thunder? This team that everybody's just assuming is not only going to get to the Western Conference Finals, but they're going to represent the West. Let's hold off on that for a second. And I think before Friday and Sunday's game, it would not have been crazy if anybody's saying that, hey, everything's running through the Thunder. I've said everything runs through the Thunder. That if you're going to get to the NBA Finals, you're going through the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it's not going to be an easy matchup. Watching them Friday and Sunday, or watching them Friday and this afternoon, looks a lot different. Tell you that. Looks a lot different than I thought. Ali, we just walked the Thunder. We just dog-walked the Thunder. Can't believe it. I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't argue any of this. I genuinely, I'm with everybody. I did not think that that's what we're going to be seeing this afternoon. Thank you for the super. Seiko, this type of win reminded me of the Denver game. Yeah, I think these two are very closely connected. And I know, Seiko, you had a comment in here after. That was my comment, LOL. I think because I was talking about that Denver game. Of all the big wins that the Lakers have had this year, I want to not count any of the ones they had when Anthony Davis was still on the Lakers. And I really just want to pay attention to this new era of Luka with the Lakers now, Luka and LeBron, with Austin Reeves and everybody else. And there definitely is a little bit of that Denver game, Saturday night on ABC, ESPN, and then this game this afternoon. It more had to do with the struggles the Lakers were having against the Thunder. There are certain teams. It's funny. I've heard certain people say this, and every time I hear them say it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I've talked to some people that I already knew this one about the Clippers. Clippers really struggle against Luka when he was with the Mavs. It's like, okay, you knew that one. And then, I've heard somebody else say, I think it was it Ryan Hollins? I think Ryan Hollins was saying that, yeah, Luka always has his number with the Rockets. And then Luka always has his number against this team and that team and whatever the case is. I feel like every game I'm learning a little bit more about Luka. Luka gives a migraine to a lot of different teams. Now he's just trying to do it in a Laker jersey. All right, let's see if I missed any more of those supers that we had earlier. Okay. There's some more here that I'm going to get to in just a little bit, but I also want to get to just some of the regular comments that are going in the live chat right now as well. All right, let's see what else we got here. OKC fumble. Luka owns many teams. Yeah, Luka just looked like Luka today. Yeah, I don't know why that comment set me off on Friday when somebody basically said, it seemed like I had a lot of excuses that I'm trying not to give Luka credit. No. I'm just accustomed to Luka being a top 5 player in the NBA. And since he's been a Los Angeles Laker, more nights than not, he has not been a top 5 player. So am I not supposed to mention it? Of course I'm going to mention it. And I think somebody really wanted me to give him more credit against the Pelicans. Why would I give him credit against the Pelicans? That's his job. Luka's, when you're one of the best players in the NBA, that's what comes with the territory. Okay? Game against the Golden State Warriors. Clearly, Luka wasn't Luka. You can't have performances like that. This afternoon, this game, did you see the way Luka was just sizing guys up against the Thunder? Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, beautiful buckets, and one step back threes over Chet Holmgren. That's Luka. I don't care what Luka does against the Pelicans. I want to know what Luka does on the road against Denver, at home against the Golden State Warriors, at home against the Houston Rockets, on the road against the Oklahoma City Thunder, on the road coming up on Tuesday against the Thunder. Then you got Dallas. What's he going to do against the Mavs, his old team? Guys, that's the expectations you have when you're one of the best in the league. That's what comes with the territory. When you watch LeBron and LeBron struggles, you give him shit for it. That's how it works when you're one of the best players. And if you're not one of the best players, we rarely talk about you. All right, speaking of Luka, let's get Luka. He's just starting his presser here. Here's Luka on the Lakers win. We'll get a few of these questions in. I'll get back to your comments.
Able to help create those mismatches and obviously generate, season high in threes today.
Just playing our basketball. I think we share the ball great, and that's how we got great looks.
Basically, a lot of, I know it's a dominant first half for you, and you've had a lot of recent history with this team playing in the playoffs. What would you say has made them so special throughout the year, coming in and having a game plan for them?
Obviously, first he's shy. I think he's an unbelievable player. He makes them look like they're an incredible team, and they are. And then second is, I think, their defense. I have a lot of guys that can guard 1 through 5. They can switch. They can control the game with their defense, and they have a lot of weapons.
Luka, you're obviously very familiar with this OKC team, but thinking just your own team, does getting this win in this fashion give you any additional kind of confidence about where you guys can ultimately go? And how is that coming together for you now as you keep learning your teammates?
Yeah, it's very tough to play here, very tough to win, obviously. But, and look at the standings today. It's crazy in the West, so we needed this win badly.
In just the past 6 games, you guys have beaten 2 of the teams above you in the West. And JJ said in those performances, you guys have had some of your better defensive games since LeBron and Rui came back. What does it say about the group that you guys were or have been able to do that?
Just amazing. Like I said from the start, JJ said, we need to be physical and we need to go out on this game aggressive, and that's what we did. So that was our goal, and we shot pretty good. We got a lot of open looks, so the game was flowing.
Luka, obviously for you, night in, night out, you want to be engaged, you want to do the right things, you want to make the right plays. But when a team challenges you the way that a defender like Lu Dort wants to, or the way that high pressure defense, what level of creativity does that unlock for you? It seems like you enjoy kind of that level of, I guess there's probably no better word than challenge.
Yeah, I understand. I think it brings the competitive spirit out of me. It brings the best out of me. Going against Lu Dort, it's a tough job. He's one of the best defenders in the NBA. So it brings the motive, to try.
Some of these highlights are unreal.
Luka, it felt like you guys really dictated the terms offensively and made them into a more switch-heavy team, and then eventually they started to kind of blitz a bit, and then you guys were picking them apart. What does that say about the ceiling for this group offensively as going up against the league's best defense? You're able to kind of control the game that way.
Yeah, I think we're the best, when they blitz. It's obviously easy basketball 4-on-3. Obviously it's not easy, but, we just kind of worked on that, and we saw that since I've been here, we've been getting better and better in that. So I think today the ball was moving, and we were getting a lot of open shots, and that's what we need to do.
All right, stop it right there and keep things rolling here. Yeah, I was talking about teams that Luka has dominated against. OKC, that's Game 6 of the playoffs. It was a wrap. 6 games last year. That's how they got to the NBA Finals. So something to keep in mind in regards to that. All right, let's take a look at some more of your comments. Luka with his tricky passes. That pass, damn. I'm watching the game. I think I was watching the game on my laptop earlier, and then I switched it over to the TV. And on my laptop, I'm like, I don't even know where the ball went. Did the ball come towards the camera, or did it go behind? I had no idea where the ball. I just saw a shot going up. I'm like, how the hell did the ball get there? He does that. I like what he said too, and I do believe this when he says that. When he said that when he's going up against players, it just raises his competitive edge. Listen, I think there are times where some of these, not all of them, but I could see some players just, they're bored going up against certain teams. They're like, no, I want a real challenge here. Today was a real challenge for the Lakers. If they'd have lost this game, I didn't even really realize this, and I know how congested the West is, but if you lose this game today, you got the same amount of losses as the Nuggets and the Golden State Warriors. Now you're only, a half game, and I know they got a lot of tiebreakers on teams, but they would have 31 losses, 32 for a number of other teams, Minnesota, Clippers, and Memphis. This was critical. And they don't play again until Tuesday, obviously a 5 o'clock tip-off. Teams are going to lose over these next 48 hours that will, eventually give the Lakers a little bit more breathing room. But you look at the Warriors have won 5 in a row. The Timberwolves have won 5 in a row. Clippers have won 4 in a row. Houston's won 8 of their last 10. I mean, it's kind of crazy what the West is doing right now. All right, let's focus more on some of your comments here. Luka's behind. I literally, I didn't know where. I got dizzy. I'm watching the game on TV. I'm like, I don't know where the ball went. I don't know where the ball went. I had to take a Adams-Imagn. I got motion sickness. I don't know what the hell just happened here. All right, let's get to some more of your comments. Quick shout out here. We got some people who gifted out memberships. If you want to be a member, it's $3 a month. It's a great way to support the channel. I think I'm closing in on 300 because we had a lot of people gift memberships after the Lakers won on Friday. Really appreciate B gifted out 5 MVP memberships. Thank you for doing so, brother. Thank you very much for doing so. There's a lot of people that are on the chat right now that are already members. Thank you for being a member. I greatly appreciate that. Let me find. We got a new member in Robert O. Robert, welcome. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you being a member, and I appreciate you hanging out. I'm going to put a link here. If you want to be a member, $3 a month, and certainly get some access to some exclusive content. Every Friday, I'm doing shows after my regular show at 8 a.m. I do a show just with members, and we shoot the shit. We talk about the show. What did we like from the week? What we're planning for the rest of the week. I like taking ideas from the members. So there's a link there. It's a great way to support the channel, and I would greatly appreciate that. All right, let's keep going here. All right. All right, we had somebody that threw a 22 for a super chat earlier for the 22 threes that the Lakers made. And now we got B-Ball 18, 1 for every ring sent from the future in June. B with the 22 spot, B-Ball with 18. Thank you. I appreciate that very much, buddy. Very, very nice of you to throw that super in there. Thank you very much for doing so. I'll come back to you, but thank you very much for doing that. All right, let's kind of pump through some of these. Let's pump through some of these. Thunder play dirty. They play old school 80s ball. I don't mind that, by the way. I don't mind that. I think the league is a little, I mean, not dirty where you're injuring a player, but I like a little rough basketball. I don't like when the referees are blowing a whistle every, 30 seconds or a minute, and you got reviews and challenges and this and that. It takes away from the flow of the game. But I'm okay with, and I think most people would say they're okay with the style of basketball being a little bit more aggressive. So I don't think that's I don't know if you don't like it, but I'm okay with that style as long as you're not trying to hurt somebody. Northborough AES Lakers 34-14, and OKC is 35-13 in the Western Conference. That's a big time stat right there. That's a great stat to point out. We know how good the West is. I went through it. You got teams on here. The top eight teams in the Western Conference are 14 games above 500 or better. So Memphis, Clippers, and Minnesota are 6, 7, 8. They're all 46-32. And that's your record against the West. And that's not including the Warriors, the Nuggets, obviously the Rockets, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Are there some bad teams in the West? Sure. Dallas, Sacramento, Phoenix. All these teams have talent. It's just a matter of, if guys are healthy, if they're not healthy, and everything else that comes with it. Let's keep going here. Northborough, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. What's one word that describes today's win? Dominant. They were dominant. That's the best. I mean, from tip-off to the absolute end, there was never kind of a doubt that the Lakers were going to win this game. They were that great for that long amount of time. So dominant, I think, is the word that I would use. I think some people could also say surprised. I think people could say, I'm sure there's different descriptions of this game, but for me, that's what it is. I appreciate the super, brother. Thank you. All right. Let's see what else we have here. Let me check one thing. I want to see. Want to see. Let's get another one in here. John Wayne. I'm here. This doesn't change anything. Lakers out in the second round. I said what I said. Let's see if LeBron and AR shoot like that in the playoffs. John, why didn't you just say it was a good win? Why didn't you just say, hey, that was a good win? Hey, that was a good afternoon. Wow, the Lakers look good against the Thunder. I think we got plenty of time to, obviously comment on when the Lakers don't play well or when they struggle or when we don't feel good about certain things. But I think we also got to just admit that, hey, this was a really good win for the Lakers. And maybe there is a higher ceiling than we thought. And maybe even if you thought, you know what, this team isn't complete, they can compete with a lot of teams in the league. Appreciate the super either way, John. Thank you for also announcing that you're here. RW, Thunder. All right, Thunder gets spanked, basically. Thank you for the super. I appreciate you guys all throwing in the super. And like I mentioned earlier, just a real shout out to B-Ball with 18 spot, B with the 22. Thank you to our new members, and thank you to B gifting out 5 memberships. I appreciate that. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, let's see what else we have here. Dominate. I think that was the word that we had there. Australia. Thank you, brother. I got you in. Don't worry. I got you. All right, let's do a little roll call. Where's everybody tuning in from? I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Roll call if you've never been a part of it. Just tell me where you're tuning in from. City, state, country, wherever you are in the world. I know there are a lot of Laker fans out there, and probably a lot of Laker fans that feel good about this win today. Okay, so the other thing I was looking at that I had some curiosity on was I usually do the strength of schedule. Let's see, after Lakers get one of the matchups in against the Thunder, where are they? 4th toughest schedule left for the Lakers. That's interesting. Houston's got the 2nd toughest schedule left. So, listen, if there's a path to catch Houston, probably got to win out. You probably got to win out. And, Houston's got to catch some L's. But Houston's got the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Warriors, and the Clippers left on their schedule. And 3 of those games are on the road. Houston's got a tough schedule left. So all the Lakers got to do is just worry about themselves. I mean, honestly, whether the Lakers are number 2 or number 3, I just want them to be – I don't want them in that number 4 spot. I prefer for them to get to that number 3 seed. And if they could do that, you kind of take your chances after that. However, if there's a little bit of opportunity here to grow to get even higher, then you go with that. All right, let's see. Let's start seeing where people are tuning in from, and then we're going to call it an afternoon. And I got to go back. See what I did? Screwed up here. All right, let's see what we got here. Dallas in the house. Thank you for being a part of the show. Amsterdam here. Thank you, Amsterdam. Koreatown. Washington Heights, New York. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you being here. Utah in the house. Little Italy, Irvine. When I think of Irvine, California, instantly my mind immediately goes to Sicily. Little Italy. Thank you, Ryan, for being a part of the show. Honolulu. Thank you for being a part of the show. Anaheim, California. All right, let's keep going here. Chula Vista. Ivan, the guy that won the that's right, that won the Luka shirt. Chula Vista, thank you for being a part of the show. You see, you're a member, you also got a chance to win things. North Hollywood, Colorado, Brighton, California, Melbourne, Australia, South Bay 310, UK, Italy, London, UK first time. Thank you. Appreciate you for joining the show. The Bronx in the house. Queens in the house. Tawanga, I always pronounce that wrong. California, thank you for being a part of the show. San Jose. New Jersey, El Paso, Texas. Miami in the house. Thank you for being a part of the show. Slovenia. New Hampshire. I appreciate you guys all being a part of the show. Colorado. Texas is here. Anaheim, I think I got already. Oxnard. Base 11, Antarctica. Phenomenal. If that's real, phenomenal. Humboldt, California, thank you for being a part of the show. South Sudan, badass. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Houston, Texas, thank you for being a part of the show. Johannesburg, Long Island, Costa Mesa. All right, if I miss you guys, my apologies there. Koreatown, I got Escondido here. Sherman Oaks. Got Japan in the house as well. The show has some reach. We got great people from everywhere, which is what makes the show phenomenal. Okay, let me see. Did I catch any? All right, Slee, we need some more Insta love. Yeah, you're right. I don't look at Instagram enough, but I will tell you Instagram is such a small number compared to YouTube that sometimes it's tough to get it on Instagram. Manila in the house, thank you for being a part of the show. All right, I think we got everybody. Florida in the house. Mar-a-Lago. Somebody's okay. Wherever you got to be. Louisville, Kentucky. All right, I appreciate you guys all being a part of the show. Okay. Big time win for the Lakers. I would argue that's the best win, the biggest win of the season. Lakers over the Thunder, 126-99. Thank you for being a part of the show. Really appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So tomorrow we'll get back on, do the Sleewa show as we always do, Monday through Friday, starting at 8 a.m. Lot to talk about over the weekend. Obviously, a lot to talk about with this Lakers win. No Laker game tomorrow, so we're chilling tomorrow, and then come back with another win or another game on Tuesday against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Big time games coming up tonight. Like I said, the big game coming up is going to be the Rockets at the Golden State Warriors. So keep an eye on that game. That's got a lot as far as at stake here in the Western Conference. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday afternoon and a Sunday evening. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, Monday morning at 8 a.m. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.